Now I want to introduce the next speaker, Alec Loorz, who, when I met him, he was a kid, and he's still a kid. He's still he's a high school student, but he's now towers over me. But he is an example of what we need. We need to get the young people to understand what's happening and to put some pressure on the older people to give them a fair shake. Alec?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. That was great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to first start by thanking Dr. Hansen. That was, fascinating. And thank you, Bioneers, for making time for the youth voice to be heard. Yes. Dr. Hansen is one of the people I admire most in this world. He's the scientist who's become an activist, a movement leader, and a hero for my generation. Yes. So I'm 16 years old, and I've spent my entire teenage life urging people to take action on climate change. I've spoken to thousands of young people, and I see the same thing, wherever I go. I can tell you firsthand that we get it. No matter how much it seems like all we as youth care about is, video games and friends, we have this inherent sense of calling about climate change. We know that it'll affect our generation more than anyone else, and we are ready for our voices to be heard. Okay. I feel that we as a generation are being called to stop global warming within our lifetimes, which, that might sound naive, but as the great David Brower once said, "I'm always impressed with what young people can do before older people tell them it's impossible." If we as a species don't make the right decisions now, then my generation will be stuck dealing with the disasters the generations before us have created. And the reality is, we don't really have a choice. The earth is calling us. Future generations are screaming at us. We simply must quit our addiction to fossil fuels. And honestly, there are a lot of adults out there who can't hear that call. You all here are exceptions, but unfortunately you're still a minority. Larry King actually stated the problem pretty plainly when he actually told Dr. Hansen a few years ago, nobody cares about what's going to happen 50 years from now. Well, it's easy for him to say, he'll be dead. He will. But I won't be. My children won't be. This planet won't be. So I believe that it's up to us, the youngest generation, to stand up and ignite a movement that will change the mindset of every person on this planet. In fact, I believe it's what we were born to do. Dr. Hansen just laid out what needs to happen. This is the blueprint. This is the prescription. And yes, it's important to ride our bikes and start community gardens and pass whatever legislation is supposedly politically possible. But that is not enough. Over 200 years ago, Thomas Jefferson said, "Every generation needs a new revolution." Yes! Well, the time for our revolution has come. It's a revolution that will ignite the compassion in every person's heart so that they consider our future with every decision they make. A revolution that will push beyond the politics and the debate of climate change and expose the truth that's been hidden for so long. Climate change is about us. It's about the survival of my entire generation and every generation yet unborn. At the core of it all, our revolution is about sustainability, which I define as this: living as if the future matters. Living our lives in a way that values trees, air, water, animals, and future generations just as much as short-term interests. This is our revolution. And throughout history, people who suffer the most from the unjust actions of the ruling class have stood up to demand that their voices are heard. And Dr. Hansen has challenged the youth to stand up for our rights. We can't vote, we can't compete with corporate lobbyists, so the only thing we can do is trust our government to make good decisions on our behalf. But it's become clear lately that they're not being a good trustee. They are not protecting the land, water, and atmosphere that we as youth need to survive. So the time has now come for us to take matters into our own hands. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I am going to join with youth around the world to take legal action and bring our case to the courts. We will demand that our government commit to the requirements Dr. Hansen has prescribed and begin to govern as if the future matters. This is our revolution. But we're not just standing up in courts, we will stand up in the streets as well. On Mother's Day, May 8th, 2011, the generation most affected by climate change will march in our communities to make our voices heard. Alongside those who care about us, 1 million kids will band together to let the world know that climate change isn't about money. It's not about power. It's not about convenience. It is about our survival. It's about the future of this and every generation to come. It's called the iMatter March. It's a 1 million kid march, and I need the help of every person in this room to march with us, to support us, and to organize with us. Pull out your phones and text the word iMatter to the number 411247 and become an official part of the movement. It'll be up there in a second. This is our revolution. And we are going to make it happen before anyone can tell us it's impossible. So now let me ask you, who is ready? Who is ready to stand up, unite together across generations, and start a revolution that is so loud, so provocative, and so unquestioning that we will be impossible to ignore? Let's make it happen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well done.